Alex, this is Keaton Everett from ABC, going over your pitching video from the San Diego camp. We're going to go through and kind of talk about a few things and kind of break down your delivery and couple key parts, and kind of talk about, ways to maximize velocity, way to keep ourselves healthy, and just to kind of get ourselves in a nice consistent spot to throw strikes. Alright, so right off the bat, we're just going to go and look at how you're setting up. Alright, so as you can see, we're going to draw a box over your head, and we're just going to watch what happens when this foot comes up. Alright, so you can kind of see it shift back a little bit. Alright, we just want to make sure that we're limiting our movements. We want to make efficient movements. We don't want anything unnecessary. Alright, so as you can see, you kind of move back a little bit. We want to make sure that how you're setting up is going to help how you finish. Alright, and how that's going to help is, see how you kind of shift back. That first little shift right here is, I want you to come set right at that position. You're already loaded up on that back side. You're on the balls of your feet. You're just able in that position to kind of get consistent, to get a nice strong powerful delivery. Alright, so just load up over that back foot. Alright, next thing that's going to help you out a lot to generate more power and create more forces, because basically where we get our power is from our lower half. We get our power from our hips, we get our power from our legs, and we want to use them as much as possible. So as watching that front leg, you can kind of see you're coming up and you're just kind of falling forward. That foot goes down, and then that toe points out, and you're kind of kicking out. Alright, so right now we're just focusing on the lower half. Alright, we want to make sure that right as this leg comes to its highest peak, alright, we haven't started forward yet. You started forward just a little bit, it's not too bad. But we want to make sure that our hips are starting forward first. Alright, we want these to go forward and not kind of at the same time as our body. Alright, now what I mean by that is we're not going to shift our weight back, and kind of lean back and kick our hips forward. We want to make sure that we're maintaining the same posture, but we're just taking our hips, we're keeping them closed longer, and we're going to drive them farther down the mound. Alright, so what's going to help us get in that position is to take our knee and get it over our back foot somewhere, back here. Alright, so as you lift up, you're lifting up and your hips aren't really closed. They're just kind of neutral. We want to see that knee, back here a little bit. Alright, so now it's kind of back over that back foot somewhere. Alright, and all that does, that buys us time in the lower body. That buys us time to get our hips going first. So now those hips are going to lead and not kind of have that right knee pop everything open. Alright, so that's going to be a big key, is just using more hips, starting your hips, driving them down the mound, keeping them closed as long as you can. And when you're doing that, you're going to start seeing this heel down here. It's going to start staying closed a little bit longer, and you're going to see it, almost like you're kind of kicking with your heel down the mound. Alright, so that's a easy fix, lower body, just something to pay attention to really get yourself more powerful. Okay, so part of that, we talked about popping open earlier. So now your hips are open. Your hips are open right here. You've lost a lot of power in that lower half. Alright, and now you're going to start seeing your body get out in front. Okay, so we're going to stop it at foot strike. So right when that front foot hits the ground, you can see that your front shoulder and your back shoulder have started to turn, and this back hip has started to turn. Alright, we want to try to see this front shoulder not even turned yet. Alright, we're still out in this position, and our arms back in this position somewhere. Alright, you're just starting everything early because your hips are so early that your upper body is going to go along with it, but we want to try to get the opposite. We want to see this hip back here start turning, which it's doing real good here, before that upper body's going. Okay, so and that's just keyed off of that lower half, that keeping those hips closed longer. Alright, and then we'll just go back and watch arm path. Alright, one of the things that we want to get in the habit of is staying on top of the ball, getting on top of the ball. We want to make sure that we're driving the ball downhill. It's going to get that plane. It's going to make it harder for hitters to hit. It's going to be more deceptive. And if you just watch what your hand's doing with the ball back here. Alright, you can kind of see that it's staying almost on the side underneath it. Your hands are basically underneath the ball right here. Alright, in this position, we want to try to see, it's a pretty good angle right here, but we want to try to see, your fingers on top of the ball with that ball, behind it. We want to, almost like your fingers are pointing towards your head. All right, and that's just going to get you able to drive that ball downhill. All right, another quick thing right off the bat is we don't want to ever have straight joints. All right, use your elbows more so. We want to kind of see a lax. We still want to see that glove out over that front foot, which you're doing really good. We just want to see a little bit more lax elbow. All right, just kind of lift with the elbow, keeping that glove over that front foot. All right, that's not really a huge issue. It just, when you keep the elbow straight, you're going to see it that it's easier for that glove to pull off, and you can just see that glove kind of swing off to the side. All right, if we're looking at it from the front, that glove's way off your middle of your body. We want to try to see it more kind of in the middle out over that front foot. So that's just kind of one of the things that will help you, is just keep that elbow up. All right, and now the next part is what are we doing at release? All right, one of the good things you're doing is you're keeping this back foot on the ground. All right, that's athletic. We always want to have 2 feet on the ground. You'll see a lot of kids kind of rotating off that foot early. So you're doing good staying through that ball. And one of the things with just kind of that ball path is you're going to see your elbow get way out in front of that body, and you're almost pushing the ball. And that's just a function of not getting on top. When you're not getting on top, that elbow's going to lead, your arm's going to kind of drag, and you're going to push everything. And you see this big space between your head and your elbow. And that's just a matter of just not driving the ball down the hill. You want to get up on top, and that ball's just going downhill the whole way. All right, but you're finishing good. You're using your lower half good enough. Once you get to foot strike, your lower half's working really good. All right, so it's just a matter of storing up more energy by keeping your legs closed. You're almost gonna see at this position, you're still kind of closed off a little bit. You're still gonna see that knee, that knee back, kind of towards that back foot a little bit. So it's just like you just kind of want to stay closed as long as you can, and that leg's going to naturally kick open at the end. So it's just a matter of just staying closed, and that'll help you out so much. All right, so just the 2 biggest keys are hips for you, keeping them closed, driving them down the hill as long as you can, and then just this position right here. We don't want to see this wrist curled in. We want to see those fingers on top of the ball. All right, so you just want to see that, if we draw it, it's going to be more right here, and that ball's going to be right there, and then this front is going to look a little bit more like this. All right, so that's just something that you kind of have to be aware of, to focus on. Couple things you can work on is just starting your delivery and then just stopping it right here. Start your delivery and then just stop it right in the middle, and just see where your hand is, and just get used to that arm path, that ball path of coming out of the glove and right up, coming out and up. But I mean, other than that, you got the foundation for that lower half to start working really well. And it's just a matter of using more of that lower half, keeping those hips closed. But other than that, I hope you had a great time at camp. We look forward to seeing you again with ABC. Have a great season.